Everyone's chasing secrets, the hidden formula, the overnight hack, the one thing nobody told them. And while they're chasing shadows, the people actually building wealth and freedom are doing something completely different. They're running a system, not a sexy one, not a secret one, a predictable, repeatable, boring system that works every single time. And the wildest part? You already know most of it. You just haven't assembled the pieces yet. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't information. It's implementation. And if you're tired of watching other people win while you're still searching for the magic bullet, this changes today, because success has never been a secret. It's an operating system with 7 components. And once you install it, the results aren't just possible, they're inevitable. Think about that for a second. Not hopeful, not optimistic, inevitable. That's the difference between wishful thinking and engineering outcomes. And right now, you're about to get the full blueprint. Every component, every mechanism, every principle that separates the people who build real wealth from the people who just talk about it. No fluff, no theory, no gatekeeping, just the system that actually produces results when you follow it. Before we dive deeper, hit like and subscribe so you never miss our videos, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Now, here's what most people get wrong. They treat success like a lottery ticket, random, lucky, reserved for the gifted or the connected. But the data tells a completely different story. The Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks business survival rates through its Business Employment Dynamics program. Roughly 50% of new businesses fail within 5 years. Sounds brutal, right? But flip that number. 50% survive. And the ones that make it aren't the ones with the best ideas or the biggest bank accounts. They're the ones running better systems. They stopped looking for shortcuts and started building infrastructure that actually holds weight. If you want to build your own wealth system from the ground up, check out the VYBO Wealth Blueprint. It gives you the exact frameworks, strategies, and mindset shifts you need to start building real, lasting wealth. Link in the description. Now let's break down the 7 components of the success system. Pay attention here, because the order matters more than you think. What if the biggest thing holding you back isn't your bank account, your connections, or your education, but the way you think? Carol Dweck, a psychology professor at Stanford University, spent decades researching what separates people who grow from people who stagnate. Her findings, published in her book Mindset in 2006, revealed that individuals with a growth mindset, people who see their abilities as developable through dedication and hard work, consistently outperform those with fixed mindsets across academics, business, and athletics. This isn't feel-good fluff. This is peer-reviewed research from one of the world's top universities. Your mindset isn't a motivational poster you stick on your wall and forget about. It's the operating system everything else runs on. If you're convinced you can't figure it out, you won't even try. And if you won't try, no strategy in the world saves you. No book, no mentor, no course. Nothing penetrates a closed mind. The most expensive thing in the world is a closed mind attached to an ambitious person. Stop telling yourself you're not smart enough, not connected enough, not ready enough. You're not broken. You just haven't upgraded your software yet. And the upgrade starts with one decision: choosing to treat your current skill level as a starting point, not a ceiling. The wealthiest people on the planet weren't born knowing what they know. They learned it. They earned it. They built it one skill at a time. And you can too. Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to admit. You can have the perfect plan and still fail if you don't trust that it'll actually work. Albert Bandura, one of the most cited psychologists in history, built his career at Stanford studying something called self-efficacy, your conviction in your own ability to execute specific tasks. His research, published across decades of peer-reviewed work starting in 1977, demonstrated that self-efficacy is one of the strongest predictors of whether someone actually follows through on their goals. Not talent, not intelligence, your conviction that you can execute. That's what drives action. That's what pushes you through the door when everything inside you wants to stay comfortable. Think about what that means for you right now. Every time you talk yourself out of starting, every time you convince yourself it won't work before you've even tried, you're not being realistic. You're sabotaging your own system before it boots up. You're pulling the plug on something that hasn't even had a chance to prove itself yet. This kind of conviction isn't blind optimism. It's evidence-based confidence built from small wins. Start small, stack wins, complete one project, close one deal, ship one product. Let the evidence build itself. Because real conviction doesn't come from affirmation. It comes from action that produces results you can point to and say, I did that. I can do it again. That's the fuel that powers the entire system. This is exactly where most ambitious people drop the ball. And if you're being honest with yourself, you've probably done this too. You've got the mindset, you trust your ability to execute, and then you sprint straight into action without a plan. You confuse activity with progress and wonder why you're running in circles. Here's what preparation actually looks like inside a success system. It's research. It's studying what works and what doesn't before you commit resources. It's building a blueprint before you pour the foundation. It's asking the hard questions before they become expensive mistakes. That Bureau of Labor Statistics data on business survival, the companies that make it past 5 years share common traits. They plan ahead. They study their market. They understand their numbers before they spend their first dollar. They build systems before they build products. They don't guess. They verify. They treat preparation as a competitive advantage, not a delay. Preparation isn't procrastination dressed up in a nice outfit. It's the difference between shooting in the dark and aiming with precision. Do the work before the work. That's what separates professionals from amateurs in every single field. And here's where it gets counterintuitive. Most people dramatically overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and dramatically underestimate what they can achieve in 10. Time is the most misunderstood component of the success system. Everyone wants results yesterday, but wealth, skill, and influence all compound. They don't grow in a straight line. They grow exponentially. And the people who understand this have an unfair advantage over everyone who doesn't. Consider this. The S&P 500 has delivered an average annual return of approximately 10% over the long term, based on historical market data tracked since 1926. That means if you invested $10,000 and let time do its work at that average rate, you'd have roughly $26,000 in 10 years, $67,000 in 20 years, and over $170,000 in 30 years. Same initial investment, same strategy. Time did the heavy lifting. You didn't need to be a genius. You didn't need inside connections. You just needed patience and consistency. This principle applies to everything you're building. Your skills compound, your network compounds, your knowledge compounds, your reputation compounds, but only if you stay in the game long enough to let it happen. Quitting resets the clock to zero every single time. And most people quit right before the curve starts bending upward. Don't be most people. We've covered 4 components so far: mindset, belief, preparation, and time. These are your foundation. Without them, nothing else works. But here's where the system shifts from theory to results. The next 3 components are where outcomes actually show up, where money gets made, where lives actually change. Pay close attention, because knowing the foundation means nothing if you can't turn it into tangible outcomes. Enough theory. Let's talk about the kind of effort that actually moves the needle. Not all effort is created equal. You can grind 16 hours a day and still go nowhere if you're grinding on the wrong thing. Anders Ericsson, a researcher at Florida State University, studied peak performers across multiple disciplines for over 3 decades. His research, published in Psychological Review in 1993, introduced the concept of deliberate practice, focused, intentional effort on specific skill development with immediate feedback loops. The difference between busy and productive is deliberate practice. It's not about logging more hours. It's about investing the right hours on the right things with ruthless focus and honest self-assessment. The person who practices guitar scales for 30 focused minutes outperforms the person who noodles around for 3 hours without direction. Same instrument, same strings, completely different results. Quality of effort beats quantity of effort every single time. Stop wearing exhaustion like a badge of honor. Start measuring your effort by outcomes, not by hours on the clock. Ask yourself every single day, did I get better at something that matters? If the answer is yes, you're winning. If the answer is a no, you were just busy. And busy is the enemy of productive. The system doesn't reward motion. It rewards direction. Think about it like this. You could work harder than everyone in the room and still end up broke if your money sits in a checking account losing value to inflation every single year. Investing is how you turn effort into multiplication. It's putting your money, your time, and your energy into assets that grow without your constant attention. It's making your resources work for you while you sleep, while you eat, while you're building the next thing. The Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances, which is conducted every 3 years, consistently shows that families who hold investment assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, have significantly higher median net worth than families who don't. The wealth gap between investors and non-investors isn't a small difference. It's enormous, and it widens with every passing year that you stay on the sidelines. You don't need to become a Wall Street trader, but you need to understand that money sitting idle is money moving backward. Whether it's index funds, real estate, a business, or investing in your own skill development, this is the multiplier that turns your effort into exponential results. Without it, you're trading time for money forever. And time is the one resource you can never earn back. Every year you wait is a year of compounding. You too, 2019, L never recover. Here's where everything comes together. And here's where the vast majority of people fall apart. You can have the mindset, the belief, the preparation, the time horizon, the effort strategy, the investment plan. But if you don't execute, none of it matters. Zero, not 1%. Zero. Execution is the bridge between knowing and having. And the gap between those two things is where dreams go to collect dust, where great ideas rot on a shelf, where potential goes to waste year after year. And the brutal reality is, most people are sitting on enough knowledge to change their lives right now. They just refuse to act on it. If you want to go deeper on building your execution systems, join the VYBO channel membership. You'll get access to exclusive content, community discussions, and advanced strategies we don't share anywhere else. And hit the join button below to become part of the inner circle. Here's what execution looks like inside the success system. It's not waiting until you feel ready. Nobody ever feels ready. That's the whole point. It's starting before the conditions are perfect and adjusting course as you go. It's shipping imperfect work and iterating based on real feedback from real people. It's making decisions with 80% of the information instead of waiting for the 100% certainty that never arrives. Every successful entrepreneur, every thriving business, every person you admire who built something from nothing, they didn't wait for perfect conditions. They executed under messy, uncertain, uncomfortable conditions and optimized along the way. That's the system. That's how it's always worked. And that's how it'll work for you, but only if you stop planning and start doing. The system is waiting. It works. It 2019 has been proven. Now prove you 2019 willing to run it. Let's bring this full circle. Success was never a secret guarded by the elite. It's a predictable system with 7 components: mindset, belief, preparation, time, effort, investing, and execution. Each one feeds the next. Skip one and the whole thing breaks down. Master all 7 and the results stop being a question of if, they become a question of when. You now have the blueprint, not theory, not motivation, a system. The only variable left is you. Are you going to keep chasing secrets that don't exist? Or are you going to install the system and let it run? Your move, make it count.